Hi, and welcome back to Mojave 4 Presents. This is another pitch slap. We're going to be slapping pitches today, and let me tell you, we're prepared.
That's right. We actually came up with a new element in this thing.
Yeah, another element. A limitation, maybe.
Yes.
Or a horizon, if you will.
We've chosen the four-sided die, the pyramid here.
Yes, and we're going to go with a TV series pitch, a feature pitch, a limited series pitch, sort of those one-off seasons that are like 6 to 8 episodes, or a stage play. 1 through 4, that is the type of media we are pitching. Ooh. Adding to the difficulty of the pitch.
It is going to be difficult.
Which is especially fun because if it's a stage play and we pull some, movie actors, not every movie actor translates to stage.
No, it'll be very interesting. And then, of course, all the genres still are in play for either one of those. So, let's see what we got.
Let's see what kind of thing we are pitching.
We have landed on two
feature film.
Hey.
That's our wheelhouse. That was what we were originally going to do. Right. So we're starting off easy. We're starting off in a comfort zone, as it were.
Yes.
So here is the hat of celebrities. The hat of celebrities. We've already removed 2 of the celebrities from the hat of celebrity, and now I will pick one. Ba-donk. And Drew will pick one.
Ooh. Oh, there's a lot of celebrities in here. Mm-hmm. Oh my. Let's go with you.
All right.
Oh, I got 2. Returning one there.
All right. So, celebrity number 1 is Sandra Bullock.
Ooh, Sandy.
America's sweetheart, Sandra Bullock.
Wow. And celebrity number 2 is America's sweetheart, Robert De Niro.
Sandra Bullock and Robert De Niro. I'm already intrigued.
I can't. They had to have done a movie somewhere together.
Somewhere along the line. In my head, I'm like, especially when he started moving into comedies.
Yeah.
It seems like their paths should have crossed. But if you know of a Sandra Bullock, Robert De Niro movie that is already in existence, please comment and tell us.
Okay. What kind of movie are they going to be in?
It's the great die of genre. All
right. I'm going to call for a recall.
Yeah, okay.
Because
I worry
this landed on 19 again from our last episode when we did mockumentary, and we don't want to repeat something that early.
No, and I also feel that maybe Cthulhu is just a little biased to the numbers. So I'm going to maybe the dice tower needs to be seen better.
Yes,
so this is the dice tower.
That's it. Here we go. There we go. Number 4. It's going to be a crime film.
Crime film.
Robert De Niro and Sandra Bullock crime film.
Crime film. Now, crime film is actually a pretty wide margin because I don't think we put like gangster down.
I don't think so either.
And crime also can be like murder mystery, cops and robbers kind of thing. Right. It's funny. We have 20 genres, and right now sitting here, I'm like, we don't have a heist movie, but that would fall under crime.
I think that would fall under crime.
But that's interesting because
choose to make it a heist film.
Right. Fascinating. So here we have a crime movie starring Sandra Bullock, Robert De Niro, and it is a feature film.
Yes. I feel like this has the makings of an ensemble cast.
All right. So,
I feel like we could have on our hands like something in the realm of I guess the current one would be a Knives Out kind of mystery, or an Ocean's. I know Sandra Bullock was in Ocean's 8, but an Ocean's type of movie, or even as stereotypical as it is with Mr. De Niro, a mob film.
Sure, a family kind of thing. So if we're going to do that, if we're going to say that this will be a vehicle for a ensemble, should we be pulling ensemble members out of
I think we need to pull more cast members out. As we go down the line.
As we come down the line.
As
Absolutely.
we find the parts
Absolutely.
come out, we'll draw for that person.
So the first thing we need to talk about is what crime are we talking about in this film? Is it organized crime? Is it a single crime event like a murder or a heist or a robbery? Are we dealing with the aftermath of a crime or are we dealing with the committing of a crime? These are all the kinds of questions that when you approach a story to tell, you have to know where along the storyline you are.
Right.
The beauty of a story is not that you're doing this beginning, middle, and end. It's actually where along the journey we are looking to set the beginning and the end to. You know, because ideally there are characters that, you know, exist long before the story starts, and unless it's, you know, an utter tragedy, there will be people who exist after the story ends. So that becomes the thing. When you think crime movie, just the genre of crime, what immediately comes to your mind?
And there is some recency bias for me, as I have just watched Glass Onion, and I definitely love a murder mystery. I love an ensemble murder mystery in the ilk of an Agatha Christie or
Right.
or Rian Johnson now.
I kind of call them parlor mysteries.
It's good. I like that.
And the reason why I don't think I coined the phrase parlor mystery. I think I think that is a thing.
Right.
But the reason why I think of it as a parlor mystery is because the denouement, the moment is when you've gathered all the suspects together, usually in the parlor, and you're like, I suppose you're all wondering why I called you here together. Now that's great because we have these two characters. We have Sandra Bullock and Robert De Niro. These two characters that could conceivably be our detectives, could conceivably be the people who are chief suspects. We could have the victim of the crime and the perpetrator of the crime. So, you know, I do have this kind of, again, I do like this idea. I think we are going to move forward with the parlor mystery kind of thing. And it might be a tried and tired trope, but I do love the retired detective. He's out of the business. He's not an active detective, but he's famous for being a detective.
Right.
People know him. Maybe he is invited places because he solved X, Y, and Z, or because he has some celebrity linked to his prowess.
Right.
And now, having said that out loud, I get a feeling that a good relationship between Robert De Niro's character and Sandra Bullock might be Robert De Niro's character is pursuing a literary career after a long, illustrious career as a detective, and Sandra Bullock is either his agent or manager or that personal assistant, the Watson, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a wonderful relationship between the master detective and the person that he is explaining his process to.
Right.
Because that gives you all of these moments of, well, how did you come up with that? What was that? You know, because I used to always make fun of Watson in Sherlock Holmes because his job was to be astounded. Well, you amaze me, Holmes. However did you discover that, Holmes? Whatever do you mean, Holmes? As if he's not a doctor. You know, it just seemed like in the old books he was, Sherlock Holmes' drug dealer and biggest fanboy.
Well, maybe he was a doctor like Dr. Pepper's a doctor. I mean, perhaps that's...
No, he served in Afghanistan in Her Majesty's Royal Army, which in the updated version on the BBC, I loved that they were able to bring back the fact that Watson served in Afghanistan because it was relevant again. Hello, perhaps cyclical history. Maybe we should do something about that. Anyway,
history.
Back to our story is the tools and personification of somebody from a literary professional world matched with the tools of. And I'm going to throw this wild card out there. What if we switched it? What if Sandra Bullock
I was thinking that
was a
too.
detective and Robert De Niro is like a publisher or a person who is who knows books and knows storytelling, and Sandra Bullock is not skilled in social interaction, in telling stories, but like her big case is such a celebrity creating case.
Right.
But her way of telling it, what happened, is very cut and dry. So now we're almost dealing with a PR vehicle trying to make Sandra Bullock a more astounding detective when she just cuts to the point. Well, what's that?
Right.
You know, and like, well, could you elaborate? What do you mean?
She's
It's like, that's blood. How do you know that's blood? I know blood when I see it. Aren't you going to taste it? That's disgusting. You know?
Yeah, she doesn't like to draw these things out. She doesn't like to sit there and have the theatricality of it. She's
Right.
like,
She could always be like, well, wait for the lab results.
Yeah.
You'll wait for what? What? We send off the samples.
Right,
We
wait
wait
for
because
lab
police work is not. Aha!
Exactly.
And I think that might be a fun thing, is to have, you know, Robert De Niro's character, either an old writer who has written lots of crime novels, or a publisher who just his house is built on kind of like that schlocky dime store, you know, detective books,
Detective novels.
you know, detective novels, and now he's taking Sandra Bullock under his wing to turn her into one of the characters, but she just doesn't really have all that much character in his eyes. I like it.
It's an interesting dynamic, because having the person that is following them doing that being an older person than the main subject, I think is an interesting dynamic, because that's not how the trope would go.
And that particular trope of you know, the old and tired and, you know, I'm too old for this kind of sensation gets turned on its head because maybe Sandra Bullock, her character was fired.
Right.
Something, some bit of shady business, and that might even be an interesting, like, under the surface plot, is what was it that she did that got her fired or kicked off the force?
Right.
And maybe it turns out she didn't solve the case after all. Maybe she planted evidence. Maybe that can be like a dual climax.
Yeah.
We're solving this case, but we're also learning that behind closed doors, you know, she was taken out very quietly because it was discovered that she had done something, you know, truly, worth being fired for.
Now, this is going to be a big gamble.
Here we go.
But I say we spin the wheel to find out the rest of the ensemble. How many other ensemble characters there are.
Brilliant. Although, you know, there is a dice that is a little more manageable. There's a 10-sided dice. I think there's an 8-sided dice. Let's use the 8-sided
You
dice.
wanna do the 8?
Because
You
I would
wanna go
say,
to
because we could
12?
go up to 12, and that's a lot to think about. I think even 8 is a lot to put in that, because even at the core of it all, if we only get like 3 or 4, we could be outlining more people that aren't pulled from the hat. But this will give us the celebrity core of the ensemble.
So let's see how many more we're adding to this. 3.
Three more.
Three more outstanding celebrities in this.
3 more celebrities, and in this case, they're not the only suspects, but they are the standouts of this ensemble, right? So I'm going to shake of the hat.
We will find ourselves
1.
one more celebrity. Is it just one? That looks like one. Let's see.
Meanwhile, I will shake of the hat.
Keep it face down.
2.
Oh, there's crevices in this hat. All right. Let me see. Okay, good. Face down. Oh, and 3. 3 decided itself.
It just jumped right out.
So the one that jumped right out, because since we already saw it, is Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman, I guess before actually we get to that, that's just because that did come out. We need to decide what mystery are we solving here. Are we solving a heist? Or are we solving a murder?
I go with murder.
Murder.
I feel like murder is more in keeping with the thematic element.
Okay. All right. Good.
So
I'll go with that.
we got Nicole Kidman.
So we have a murder. I'm going to nominate that we draw the victim of this murder.
Oh.
At the end of this.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. Okay.
We will draw. So these are suspects. I believe Nicole Kidman to be the heiress to whomever this victim is.
Very nice. I like that.
I think she has that classical look of an heiress.
It could be her mansion,
Right.
You gotta come to the mansion. And,
Right.
Excellent.
Really hoping we draw someone old to be the victim in this. Because then we get like one of the young actors, we get like a Tom Holland, and they'll be like, okay, well, let's rearrange this again. But that's the fun of it. Another suspect is Scarlett Johansson.
Excellent. It's interesting. Because now that we've drawn Nicole Kidman and Scarlett Johansson, I'm feeling that a rivalry is a really good idea to have, like a rivalry. But what if it's a professional rivalry? What if this is all of the writers that Robert De Niro already represents? These are mystery writers who are successful in their field. So they're all meddlesome. They all have, ingrained in them how murder mysteries work and how you're supposed to solve them
you should
and
get
how
away.
you should do it. And they actually have great information because they spend all their time studying the latest techniques, the latest things. They have a wealth of information, which actually makes them better detectives story-wise than the actual detective,
Yes.
who will consistently be like, "Shut up!
That's
not what we do. That's not how a crime scene is handled."
All right, so then we will reconfigure that.
I mean, and Nicole Kidman could be still an heiress, a very rich woman who took it on a lark to write these books, and she's kind of an Agatha Christie-ish,
okay.
She writes, but she's like an older Paris Hilton who writes murder mysteries. She's a former party girl, but she's grown into her name and into everything. And she writes these books, and she considers them to be trivial, but in truth, she's very proud of it and very, very competitive.
And then who's ScarJo?
ScarJo is a younger
up-and-coming
writer who maybe, because, and this is a weird subgenre of murder mysteries, but maybe she puts a lot of supernatural elements in, and so she's not respected, but she has a larger following.
Right.
She does like, the vampire detective.
Right. I guess the young adult.
Yeah,
audience.
the woman who's scantily clad in leather, going out and solving crimes, but she's also a vampire, and so it's a little on the smutty side.
Yeah.
So she writes vague erotica masked as detective books, but it's populated by vampires. So she's almost like a gothy, woman. But of course, Scarlett's nearing 40. Yeah, she's in her 30s, late 30s,
Yeah, she's
40s, maybe even early 40s.
Yeah, she's probably early 40s.
But that gives us she's been that person.
Yeah.
For so long. So since her early 20s, she's been writing this, and she hasn't, been able to shed the characteristics. So she is like a very old teenager.
And the final, Dave Bautista.
Yes! Absolutely.
Dave Bautista is the other writer.
Now I'm thinking Robert De Niro's basic roster are women writers, and Dave Bautista writes under a pen name of
That's not bad, yeah.
of a woman, and his books are usually celebrated for being so feminine and being so in touch and presenting the female in positive light and stuff.
That's good.
So he's basically a better woman writer than the women writers.
That's a good, interesting twist. All right, and so now the murder victim.
Oh, I'm excited and kind of nervous.
Yeah, who will the murder victim be?
I'm gonna shake it. I'm gonna shake it. I'm gonna shake it.
Shake it.
Shake it. Boom.
The murdered victim, give me one of these, is
Bum, 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 bum.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, another writer.
Yep.
Another writer. And maybe we should say that Jennifer Lawrence is the highest tier of this particular company. This company that produces, because it's kind of like
I say, perhaps she skyrocketed. She hit a series or something.
Right.
She
created
the next Poirot or whatever, and
Exactly.
it just took off.
It just took off, and See, I've already got a very interesting subplot there, which is the other writers all ghostwrite for Jennifer Lawrence.
Ooh.
Jennifer Lawrence's fame and her position, it turns out she doesn't write the books. She hires out.
That's the big twist.
Right.
That's the smoking gun.
That's the smoking gun.
Sandy Bullock
And
comes up with.
And the beauty of it is each of the other people think they're the only ghostwriter.
Right.
They think that she's written most of the books, but they've definitely contributed. And the great, discovery is Jennifer Lawrence had not written a single book.
Right.
It is spread out amongst these three,
or
even more than these three.
Yeah, and she's the face essentially.
Right.
She's the one. They were like, she's the one we're going to put out there.
And we can even learn that it was Robert De Niro who orchestrated it all.
Yeah.
Who approached them and who, and his sell point was, oh, she is just swamped. If you could, take a look at her work and help her out.
Yeah.
Maybe send her off to rehab. So she's and so in a lot of ways, Jennifer Lawrence's character is guilty. Feels guilty for all the limelight and attention.
Yes.
So maybe she's a hard substance abuser, alcoholic, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And since she does not acknowledge any of these, and maybe she doesn't know who the ghostwriter is, they all feel that they're being slighted by her because she never thanked them. She never, acknowledged that they had done anything. But she didn't know who had written the books. She only knew that it wasn't her.
Yeah. But she accepted it for the fame. She accepted it for the money and everything like that. She just didn't question it. She let it happen. So, all right.
So that gives us that core story. And, of course, we can build it out. Because this could be a writer's retreat.
Yeah.
Where it's about being super isolated somewhere. You're dropped off and you can't, which is a conveyance of a lot of these stories is, you're on a boat and you can't get off. You're on a train and you can't get off. You've been, ferried to a small island and you can't get off. So the idea of like some remote mountain cabin or, a big estate out in the mountains where Robert De Niro is basically introducing his newest find, Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
And Sandra Bullock's character is famous as a person, but not for being a writer, but for being this like super cop.
Right.
And I think that builds us towards this crest where she's using as much procedural and accurate police work as possible while being interrupted at every turn by these three.
Yeah.
Actually, this also puts Robert De Niro
Yes, as a suspect.
as a suspect.
Yes.
But he is also kind of the host of the event.
Yeah.
And he is very closely allied to Sandra Bullock, which now this becomes an interesting thing. Since we are saying Jennifer Lawrence is the victim,
Yes.
we have 4 suspects, and we have a 4-sided dice.
Oh.
We could let the dice tell us who the murderer
Who
is,
the actual murderer?
and then we will retrofit the story.
All right, here we go. In order that we have them here.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Tell them
De
what it is.
Niro, Batista, Johansson, Kidman. It is Scarlett Johansson
Scarlett Johansson.
is the murderer.
Intriguing. Because there is an underlying theme that we kind of set up where she is considered to be schlock.
Yeah.
That what she writes is not respected, but what she wrote for Jennifer Lawrence is Jennifer Lawrence's most popular.
Yeah.
And lauded as true literature.
Yeah.
People are talking about it the way that they talk about like very gripping literature, but Robert De Niro will never allow Scarlett Johansson's character to write something outside of her fan base.
Yes.
And so it is, and he even like proposed that she write these stories as an exercise, get out of your head so you can get back to this and do this. And of course, that gives us a great subplot. However, that may not be enough for murder. That gives us certainly a lot of ammunition, but maybe we should take a closer look at the story as a whole. the idea is Robert De Niro's little publishing company. He has a little chorale of writers.
Yes.
Jennifer Lawrence, Dave Bautista, Scarlett Johansson, Nicole Kidman, all very popular murder mystery writers, all very popular in their own ways for different things. So they're diversified in how they tell and what they tell, and they're being packaged and marketed by Robert De Niro. He's a spin doctor for them. He's a PR man. He definitely pushes all the buttons. He sees Sandra Bullock as a real life character from one of these books, and he's thinking he can do the same thing he did with Jennifer Lawrence. And that's kind of what this weekend is a soft introduction to getting the writers, again, who have done amazing work for Jennifer Lawrence, to ghostwrite Sandra Bullock, which makes Robert De Niro a prime suspect because he's getting rid of the last ghost-written author,
Right.
so that he can put in place the new ghost-written author. And even that might be something that Jennifer Lawrence sees on the wall.
Yeah.
And there might be a little bit of her saying, thank God I don't have to do this anymore. But equally, she might be scared about her future if she's not being propped up by these ghostwriters. So that's good argument. That's good fighting between Jennifer Lawrence and Rob De Niro's character. So now we're starting the red herrings.
Right. Well, we're going to have to come up with a title for this whole shebang. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because whenever you encounter these books, they oftentimes have these very innocuous titles.
Yes.
And so you think of like idioms about writing. What are good? The written word, the writing on the wall.
Writer's Retreat.
Written in blood.
Oh, you're going super melodramatic with that.
Although Writer's Retreat gives you, right away exactly what's happening. It is Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes.
Writer's Retreat.
Writer's Retreat.
If you want to go further, Murder at the Writer's Retreat.
I was it's like Murder They Wrote.
Murder thing. Fair.
Yeah.
But
Murder They Wrote.
much respect to Angela Lansbury, will not do that. But
We can make a Murder She Wrote, and this and
Murder
Sandra
She
Bullock
Wrote.
is
Murder She Wrote.
is playing Jessica.
Murder she, and she wrote. Yeah, that's right. This could be the origin story of Jessica Fletcher.
Yeah.
It's like right at the end. It's like I've chosen a pen name.
Yes.
But I think that that Sandra Bullock filling in that realist approach to having a group of people whose job it is to make fantastic things. So
All right.
So
There it is.
Is it Blood and Ink?
Yeah, I'm all right with blood and ink. Blood in ink, like
Blood in
IN.
ink?
Blood in.
Pen and Ink? Pen and Blood? Blood?
Pen pals.
Ooh, Pen Pals. Ghost Writers.
Yeah, but now you're giving away
That gives it away.
it gives away the whole plot. I don't know.
No, I think Writer's Retreat might be it.
Yeah.
Because if you say it's a murder mystery and it's called Writer's Retreat,
Right.
you're given so much information just in that title.
Right.
And it gives you everything you need to know going into it. And then it's about creating really flamboyant characters.
Yes.
Really interesting and striking characters that these actors could really have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see Dave Bautista having, all the masculinity that Dave Bautista has,
Yes.
but an incredible insight to, and sensitivity about how to present females and female characters and things of that nature. So I think that is a lot of is the juxtaposition between him being, very stereotypically male while having very stereotypically female sensibilities. So then Scarlett Johansson's character becomes, tired of the character she plays.
Yes.
She wants to grow up, but her fans won't let her. But and maybe she did try at some point to write a serious book that wasn't one of her style, and it just bombed.
Right.
And it wasn't because of the quality of the book, it was because her fans just refused to accept it. It was like,
They were expecting
a bunch of
they
miseries.
were expecting A and they got B. Yeah,
Right.
Very,
And
very
no one
bad.
would take her seriously.
Right.
So no audience would read her books that weren't her fans. And her fans didn't want anything but what they expect from her.
Right. Well, there you have it.
There it is.
I feel like this pitch came together really well.
It did.
Very strangely how this came together.
I was very pleased with the sheer volume of celebrities
Yes.
in our story.
It was nice.
mean-
It was nice to work that in when you're dealing with a murder mystery or a crime
Absolutely.
film. I mean,
Yes.
I feel like you have to have that kind of ensemble power.
Yes. Yeah. When you're doing a parlor,
Yeah.
you want as many notable people to be at the base of it, and it's funny because when I saw that we were only pulling 3 suspects, it felt like, oh no,
Right.
is that enough? But I think the story does lend itself to.
Well, I think in the end you start off with these 5 people plus Sandra, and then once one gets bumped off and you feel like De Niro is the one that's
Right, it makes the
not
most sense.
involved because he's helping her, but he's doing this. It really
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm sure you heard that in Connecticut.
What?
Just a very loud sneeze.
What?
I said, never mind.
But it leaves you with the 3, that we think are the 3 suspects, and eventually you find out.
And then De Niro
is.
actually fits very well into the
Yeah,
suspect list,
exactly.
which is great because there is that moment of he's helping Sandra so much, and when she begins to suspect him, the fact that he's innocent would play really well to a sense of betrayal and then
Right.
anger, which would read as a guilty person.
Yes. There you have it.
There you have it.
A pitch successfully slapped. We want to say thank you for tuning back in, coming back to us this week. We'll have more and more content coming out every week, something different, something new, along the lines of our pitch slaps, our plugging plot holes, and our short in a week.
Short in a week. It's coming.
And-
It's coming for us.
And remember to just like, share, subscribe, and
Tell your friends.
comment on anything that you want to see us. If there's any genres, any other actors, any other actors you want us to include in the hat. We have a lot of actors in the hat, but you never know. We might have.
Well,
not
we're
put
pulling them
someone
out
in.
and we're not putting them back in.
Right. These.
So as we move forward, we'll start replenishing them with new and more intriguing.
Yeah.
And if you add people who are already in the hat, that just increases their odds that they'll be
they'll be selected.
selected.
So we're really user friendly here. We like to interact with our I almost said listeners as though this is our podcast. Interact with our viewers. So please let us know if there's any celebrities you want us to throw in there, as well as if there's maybe some sort of odd subgenre that we don't know of. Put that in there too. We'll
Absolutely.
add it to the list.
We'll add it to the list.
And there you have it. So we'll see you guys next time.
Next time.